Right, me again. Today I'm talking to you about the SP16 again. Someone left a comment, I believe it was yesterday, asking if it now has a place in my production workflow and if I'm going to keep it. And the answer is yes, the simple answer. First of all, when I first started using it, I was trying to do everything with it. I was trying to do MPC stuff with it. So I was really directly comparing it to the MPC, which is a big mistake because instantly, even though I like the workflow of it, it was nowhere near as deep as an MPC, which is understandable because it's nothing like an MPC. It's just the layers of it. It's very basic. It kind of reminded me of like when I used to have an old MPC and didn't know what I was doing with it, like the MPC 2500. Loved that, but all I did was just touch the top layer. I never really explored it that much. It was just a basic sampler. The sounds were on each one, and there was a couple of effects that I could figure out. Kind of like the 5000 as well. Now, I know those two machines, the 2500 and especially the 5000, are really deep and everything, but I wasn't interested then. Then I got the MPC Live, changed everything, the steps and the going back further into the different aspects of editing and stuff and what you can do with each sample and the layering of each sample on a pad was really easy because of the touchscreen and you could get to it quicker. Then I got the SP16 and tried to do the same thing. Now, at the start, it was awesome. I was getting used to the limitations. So I was liking the fact that I didn't have the options to have multiple effects on things. You can have 2 effects per pad. And it was like, they're not good. If I'm honest, the effects on the SP16 are rubbish. They are really, really bad. Like, not really usable for melodic part. I just found them really horrible. However, I used that to my advantage. So what I would do is I would resample things. So I'd use 2 effects, then resample it to a pad, and then more effects if I needed it, resample it, commit to that again, resample it, and so on and so on, and layer and layer and layer till I got the sound that I wanted. And it was fun, but it didn't really work when I wanted to sit down and make a tune from start to finish. As a laugh and sort of sound design and messing about with samples, brilliant. But actually sitting down to make a tune and being quick with it, it's not the one. The MPC was a lot quicker, but again, there's different things that I use that for. So before I got the SP16, it was pretty much MPC all the way and the Digitact as well, which I sold to get the MPC 16 instead. With the idea that it was the same kind of editing-ish. I had more pads to work with. So the Digitact's only got 8 sounds, whereas this has 16 pads per pattern and so on. You can't really chain patterns on it, but I love the idea of the sequencer. And that is why it's still part of my production workflow. Being able to sequence on that so quick is just, honestly, it is brilliant. Having that sequencer there, being able to pick a pad or pick a track and just sequence it really quickly. Do it over 16 steps and then duplicate that over twice or 4 times and make variations to each of those 16 steps. It's really limited, but it's just so sweet. Once you've got the sounds that you want in it, like kicks, snares, hats and so on, it's perfect. And that's exactly what I'm using it for. It is now my drum sequencer. I rarely use the MPC for drum sequencing anymore. It's mainly, again, just to send the information MIDI-wise to the Minotaur and the Pro 2 and other things and stuff like that. I'm still use it for drums, but it's so much quicker on the SP16. It's just bosh. Everything's MIDI'd up, so it's perfectly in tempo. It's, yeah, it's really good. It is my go-to drum sequencer. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm using it for all electronic style drums, from house, garage, drum and bass. Last 3 drum and bass tunes I made, the drums were that. At the moment, I'm pitching a drum and bass EP of 3 tracks. All of the drums came from the SP16. There was maybe a couple of layers from the MPC later on in overdubs, but the idea was made in that. And they were quick breaks, just from one shots. Honestly, it's really good. The idea that you've got like almost parameter style locks, like the Electron boxes and those sequences, having different parameter changes for each of the steps. I can have pitched snares and pitched claps on different steps. It's really, really good. The one thing that I cannot stand it for is anything melodic. Just, I can't deal with it. The keyboard mode, like the scales mode, is cool. It's fine. That's not bad. That's really good. Well, fine. But actually putting like a noise in from a sample and then playing it chromatically or trying to add effects to it, really, it's just like, nah. But it still hasn't deterred me from using it. There's other questions like, why would you buy that if you've got an MPC? Because it's flavors, isn't it? It's just flavors. It's a different workflow. It's something different. Here you go. Here's another one that I'm loving right now that I'm using in conjunction with these two. 2 secs. Pocket operator again. Mate, I did a video on this a while ago. It's sick. It is, I mean, it's sick. It's rubbish. Don't get me wrong. It's 8-bit, crusty as you like. But it's so sick for drums. Melodic parts, forget about it. Just don't bother. Drums, If you want crunchy drums, mate, bosh, really good. What I'm doing at the minute is I'm layering the drums from that I sequence with this. And I just play this in live, like... Sounds trash coming out of that because the speaker's tiny. But plugged in, going through a couple of preamp emulations and so on, it sounds huge, mate. There's no actual demo for this video. It's just me talking. So if you're expecting me to be pressing buttons and that, gutted, because I'm not going to. I'm just talking about that and answering the question as to why I'm keeping it. Because the drum sequencing is brilliant. I've got a little USB stick, little thing, tiny it is. It's 516 or 521 gigabytes. I'm never going to fill that up with drum samples. Like, I've put every drum sample I own on the stick. I've still got loads of space left. It's brilliant. And it hasn't taken anything away from the MPC. The MPC is still king. Oh, one other thing that is really, really good about the SP16 is that drive. The filter in the drive. Once you turn that filter on and drive it up, killer. It's got 4 outputs. So I'm using the kick out of 1, the snare or the claps out of 2, and the percussion out of 3 and 4. So I can use the master filter and drive for the kick and the snare just to get a bit more grain in there. Or if I want it all over everything, I just have everything outputted 1 and 2. It's brilliant. It's really good. I would definitely suggest, if you're looking for a drum sequencer that's a sampler, that's kind of like the TR8S from Roland, but not plastic. Sorry. There's no faders, obviously, with that one. But if you like the idea of parameter locks as well from the Electron boxes, but you don't like the Electron way, because I found that extremely hard to get used to. Like, the Octatrack is like, what? Like, I don't... What? Looks brilliant. What? The Digitact was excellent. Really liked it. But it was only 8 sounds, which pissed me off. I needed more than 8 sounds. I needed more than 8 sounds to do stuff with. And I know you can parameter lock the different steps to be different notes, but I want more. I want 16 noises. That's it. I just want 16 sounds to mess with. So that had to go. And then, yeah, bought that instead. The sequencer is sick. I've said it a million times. The sequencer sold it to me. And it's staying. For the meantime, anyway. This might change. At the time of filming this, it's staying. Got this back out again, like I said. Little crappy kicks and that. 8-bit. Laughing. So good. If you want a machine that's got built-in effects that are amazing, don't get the SP16. I'm just hoping that there's going to be an update for it where they're like, oh, sorry, didn't realise that the effects were like that trash. Here's some new ones. That would be amazing. The other thing that would be really good as well is when you change scenes, if it locks the BPM for each scene, that would be intense. Because at the minute, my different scenes are different kits. So I've got like scene 1 is drum and bass noises. Scene 2 is house noises. Scene 3 is garage noises. And they're all different BPMs. And I'd like to be able to just go quickly to the next one without having to change BPM. It's a first world problem, I know, but it would be sweet, especially from a live point of view, to be able to use it live and not have to just like sit and wait for a whole project to load. Just be like, stop dancing, everyone. Just give me a minute. Just wait for the SP16 to load a new project. That can't happen live, can it? But yeah, I'm rambling now. Sweet. Happy New Year again. SP16. If you want effects, don't buy it. If you want a sweet sequencer that you can layer up stuff quick, buy it. If you've got an MPC already, don't worry. It's not going to take its place. If you've got one of those already, it works well with it. If you've got nothing at all, just try it. But yeah, it's staying. See you later.